So hearing phase or stage. Early stage hearing was almost non-existent. I didn't really hear anything until later on. What have I got down for hearing? The early stages of hearing, they're very much scenic type scenes. So if it was a cityscape, like the target was of a city, my hearing would be like cars driving in traffic streets, but it wouldn't present itself as something that's auditory, like you can hear it. It presented itself as a memory. So it wouldn't show up in your ears. It would show up in a different, like it would come up as a recognition, rather than a memory of something that actually, it would come up as a recognition of a memory. Excuse me. So hearing in the early days very much started off as like scenic type things, like a forest. I might get a forest of trees going like this, sort of rustling in the wind sort of thing, or a scenic type. It's a city, you can sort of hear, like you recognize cars driving along wet roads, beeping and people walking, that sort of sensation. And that's how I experienced hearing in the early days. Not so much hearing it, but remembering it. Going, and I would express the memory, and it would relate to the target. So hearing, early days, very scenic type stuff. Nothing specific. Nothing like music. You can hear music. I can't hear music. I've never heard music. I've never heard anything. The closest thing I hear to sounds when I do hearing is memories of sounds. The only thing that I do hear when I'm doing hearing and it is possibly loud is like bar scenes or parties or performances and things like that. I just get like background noise, like it's like background music. I don't get the main event, but I get all the background noises sort of come through as an ambience, sort of ambient sounds. Yeah, that's probably the best sort of experience I've had with my early days hearing. Now, my hearing, it's changed. It's formed into something else. My hearing, when I probe, is now turned into sensing objects around me. Now, when I say sensing objects around me, I can feel glasses, I feel gloves, I feel face masks, I feel clothes, I feel if they're holding on to ropes and stuff, I can feel the ropes. It's like it's become a tactile, sensory sensation. I can sense objects near me or near the target. So an example is if I'm standing next to a big tall building, so one side is a big tall building and the other side is just the road. When I do hearing, I feel that building on the side of that target. It feels like a pressure. It feels intimidating almost. So I don't know if I'm feeling the person's intimidation by having this big large object next to them, or the fact that I'm actually sensing the object itself. So yeah, don't know. So what I've got here is sensing objects around me, and so yeah, I've talked about if the person has any sort of clothing or stuff, I can sort of feel some of that most of the time, like glasses and gloves and any sort of extra stuff, I can feel it, not a problem. If they're structures, they feel like fixtures, something added to the structure. So sometimes I feel flags as little itchy spots that come off my body. When I felt I had a target of a building that had 3 flags, and what I felt was 3 itchy points along the back of me. And when I saw the 3 flags, I thought of those flags. I thought it was myself as being the building, and those flags puncturing points in my skin, and that's why they felt itchy. So they were actually inside my body until the target sort of pointed flags out and had these big sticks poking out. And so those big sticks, where they intercepted my body from the image or the target, those spots were itchy. So yeah, hearing is very much changed into sensing things around me. It's grown to that extent. I can sense when objects are around me, when people are around the target. I can sense from which direction a picture is being taken from. So if I'm the target and the camera is over there, I can feel this pressure of this attention from this camera in that direction, and it comes up as feeling some pressure on my face. Yeah, it's turned into a 3D sort of thing. If I can sense things close to me, objects, people, or close to the target, I mean. So it's very much positional, analyze what's around me. So, hearing. This guy, he can detect eye patches, he can detect face masks, things that people wear. He can detect when attention is coming from a certain direction outside of his body. So either a camera taking his picture, or the structure's picture, or the target's picture. He can also sense objects close to him. So he can feel when the object's close to him, because it leaves, even though I haven't drawn the pressure on this piece here, he can sense it as well. So it's about knowing where physical objects are at this moment, my hearing, where physical objects are in relation to the target. So that's hearing. So hearing's very much changed a lot for me. I can sense a lot more in hearing. I think it's going to develop further, but that's cool. That's just hearing, and it triggers other things as well. That's enough of hearing. So 3D positional hearing. In the old days, there was no hearing really. I'll get ambient type noises, street scenes, street noises over there, or trees in the distance sort of sounds, but not really sounds in an auditory, sort of like memories. And that's hearing for me. And smells are like that too. Sort of smells are like, oh, I recognize that smell. That's like chips and hot chips and cakes and sweets and body odor and that sort of stuff. They come through as like memories or references to what the target has. I suppose we should call them references, right? Whether they're memories or impressions of any kind, they're references to that target. But that's an assumption. Anyway, heavy hearing. So that's hearing. The next stage is join. So join is very much my emotional connection. So I'll see you over at join.